Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying the show here for the first round of the Hurley Pro at Trestles. We've got Heat 7 hitting the lineup with last year's world champion from Brazil, Adriano de Souza, up against one of the standout rookies last year, Wiggolly Dantas, who's backing up pretty nicely in his second year, and Matt Banting, who is on the hunt for a big result coming into this back half of the season. He's back in 30th position, so an interesting lineup. Adriano just trying to recapture the magic. He'd love to get a victory, winless this season as the defending world champ, but Matt Banting, definitely interested to see how he fares. This feels like one of the stops on the schedule where Matt Banting could really set, I think, everyone's mind's on fire. He's definitely capable of throwing down some exciting trick moves, but Adriano de Souza is a great person to focus on because he does look like he's struggled to find the hunger for competition, which saw him go on to title glory in 2015. We'll touch on that more in a moment, but right now Matt Banting getting things started on the backhand here. Just has that very agile, light-footed approach, but can throw just absolute bombs, backhand air reverses at any stage. Didn't take to the air on that occasion, but that's what I want to see from Matt Banting. He has the ability to flick his board completely, invert that board and throw it towards the beach and ride out of some pretty amazing backhand turns. So we'll see if he goes to those moves.
Well, he's going to have to, because with his agility, you know, he is a bit like a gazelle. You know, he surfs very light-footed. That was nice right there. Good technique on that arc through some spray. Now you can see he's eyeballing the ramp. He wants to go for it, but instead, because that last section laid down just a little bit, I think that was smart. You know, he said, okay, I'll just go for a spin. But you can see his intentions. He wants to go for an air. That
gave him plenty of time to get a bit of healing done before this event kicked off, and there is a chance this event's going to finish early, so whatever is going on there will have even more time to mend as we see Matt Banting attempting one of those moves that we just felt that he might go for, and he generally gets those things dialed in, so I wouldn't expect him to fall on another attempt, and I think he should stick with it. That kind of explosive surfing is going to fetch big numbers, even if it's just that individual turn. Wiggolly, a rare air reverse attempt from him. Doesn't ride out of it, but I like what I'm seeing. That wind is very conducive for these competitors.
And Adriano is perfectly happy for them to keep boosting, because you know he's going to slice this thing into an 8.
Well, the first turn was solid, and he drifts the tail once again, motoring down the line now. This guy just always surfs with so much flow. And he just hammers through to the inside now, just carving his way through this dead water. He continues to rack up the points. Just behind him, Matt Banting. You can see he's picked off a bit of an ugly closeout wave there, so he'll get back to the takeoff zone. Just hasn't quite looked as hungry as he did last season, yet he finds himself in 7th position.
Yeah, it's amazing how consistent Adriano de Souza is, as we see. There you go. You kind of called it, Ronnie. He has just a little more flair, a different angle on his airs, on his backhand Matt Banting. He really hucks his tail towards the beach, and he also got inverted. So a very cool attempt there, but not coming off. And Wiggolly Dantas, we know how he's notorious for great timing, throwing that tight arc on his backhand and chucking spray to the moon. But that time I've seen Wiggolly do some big airs. He can get it done. But this was played right into Adriano's hand, didn't it? You know, the boys are falling on airs, and Adriano just said, you know what? Go ahead, do your thing, boys. I'm going to start chipping away at some solid scores. So just an okay wave, but went a little flat, though.
Here goes Wiggolly now. On the backhand. Just figuring out these lumps pretty nicely at the moment. Has that beautiful timing. Has let go of a couple of decent turns on this wave, and he's still milking it right through to this inside. And there is a pretty decent finish to a reasonable wave. Just over 15 minutes to go. Can get one of those moves pulled in and get his board back under his feet. Feels like he could notch up an excellent score going left.
And he might have to be honest, because Adriano de Souza and Wiggolly Dantas on your screen right here are power surfers, and Matt Banting's not really known for his power, but he does have an edge over these guys above the lip. So why not try to expose these guys that way? Wiggolly Dantas, another wave similar to Adriano de Souza, is it showed some hope, but it went flat.
Here is Banting, and he is throwing everything at it out here at the moment. Successful this time with that first turn. Climbs up on the foam, driving around the section. Just adding some smaller points now as he motors down the line. Needs another big move to take this to another level, this wave, and he can't complete that turn. Adriano's not going to make too many mistakes. And he just looks to hop around the section there. Not too happy with that wave. He actually did get a little bit hung up on that first maneuver.
So I would feel like Adriano de Souza in his head right now, he feels like he's still got a lot of work done in his heat for how dangerous Matt and Wiggolly are. Adriano knows that. He knows they have a lot of firepower right there. That's the X factor that Matt Banting's known for. Always has kind of loose trucks, doesn't he? But he does it with speed, which is very cool. You know, he doesn't have this kind of slow, syrupy spins. He does it with a lot of whip, which makes it exciting. But again, a sloppy heat so far for Matt Banting coming unstuck. And this wave looked like it was going to be a game ender. You know, he just got a little hung up on that off lip more than he wanted to, Ronnie, and got stuck behind. He maybe could have fitted in one more serious move and would have been a solid backup, but not the case that time.
And Wiggolly's not out of this one just yet. He's got a 6.4, so he's in a great position to make a jump from third place into the lead. As we see Banting keep him busy on this inside section. Here we go, de Souza, he looks like he wants this one. It's stretching out nicely, but he's got to get going. Has a lot of speed. Starts this wave with a floater. Again, just banking and generating more speed down the line. He goes to that rail, doesn't quite set it deep into the face of the wave. It's not a major turn, so you'd have to say a bit of a wave selection error there, and now we see Matt Banting with an opportunity to really improve his situation. He wants to get rid of a 5.23 here. Solid finish, but not a lot of work done on that wave. It just didn't allow him to truly open up. And Wiggolly's out the back, and he's got a shot at what might be the most well-paced wave in the set. First turn strong, moving plenty of water. And let's see what he can do with this inside run now. Really squeaking the turns in, but the wave just wasn't quite steep enough for Wiggolly to let go of some big backhand jams, but not too bad. And we're expecting him to get the better of Banting and de Souza on the exchange. 8 minutes remaining here.
Well, exactly. There's only 8 minutes left, and I feel like this is the wave that's really going to kind of open this or turn this heat upside down. Wiggolly, you know, this wave stayed open. It had that nice clean wall, and right there, that was a great hammer. That's that backside off the lip. You know, it's just going to be very easy for the judges to throw down big scores for it. So was that 3 solid maneuvers committed right in the pocket. Beautiful wave. So again, Wiggolly, Dantas, he's already got a 6.4. I feel like he's going to have a commanding lead after that score. Adriano de Souza, he did so well to cover all that ground. It was about 100 yards that he flew around that mushy section. So I was very impressed of, you know, for him to get around. But he didn't get the payoff. You know, that wave didn't open up for him. There's that speed and agility from Matt Banting. I like that tail drifting floater. But again, no payoff. So the first 2 waves of that set were not very friendly. They were closeouts, and Wiggolly got the benefit of that third open wave.
And I think he'll be inspired to put on a good performance, because he's certainly a good friend of David Wood, who passed away last night. So Kelly always inspired by those kind of incidents, as we see Wiggolly on the replay. This was the 9.07. First turn was strong. Okay,
so again, so I like the mix-up. The first turn spray, the second turn in a pocket and tagged the whitewash, the third one a bit of a carve, and then he had that benefit of that wave just enough laying back for a 4th turn. So, you know, when you have a wave that is way overhead and clean, that's when you're going to have to, you know, really match it with quality turns. And that's exactly what Wiggolly does. You know, his middle name could be Quality. So again, let's slow down this second turn right here. Bang, that is delivered right in a pocket. So again, not the opposite of conservative. That's where he arced it out again, and that was all by design so he could finish this wave with a 4th turn. So really, I think the most impressive thing, Ronnie, was he matched that wave with pace. You know, it would have been a very easy wave to over-surf and overthink it, but he just went to business from the bottom to the top and just kept that rhythm going.
Well, time is ticking away. Just 10 seconds remaining now, and Wiggolly, who seemed at one point like the most unlikely server to take this heat out, has bounced back well with good wave selection and decent heat score total to move on through to round 3.